Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wealth Management Association podcast. My name is Jared Ryan, and I will be the host for today's episode. Joining us today for the second time is my friend, Oscar Garner. Oscar graduated in 2021 and is not only a Spartan alum, but a Wealth Management Association alum who is a portfolio consultant for Raymond James. In today's episode, we talk about Oscar's journey, his experience and efforts with the Evans Scholarship, his insights and advice about the financial sphere, along with so much more. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the WMA podcast. Today we have a special guest who has come back around for his second appearance, a true MSU and Wealth Management Association legend. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Oscar Garner.
Thanks, man. I don't know if legend is how I would describe it, but I definitely appreciate it. It's good to be back. It's crazy how much time has passed. I think my first interview was I was still an undergrad at the time. It was around like March of 2021, so almost 2 years in the making to come back. And it's like I said, man, it's great to be back. It's humbling to see that it's still, it's still going and it's progressed. The work that's been put in, not just in my group, but the group before mine to lay the foundation for this. And I'm happy to see you guys are still carrying the torch and making things happen. So like I said, man, happy to be back.
Yeah, we're trying the best to replicate what you were able to do. I think in your class, you and Justin Halverson, you created a lot of stuff that the WMA just didn't have, like the Spartan Journal and additional other outlets that we now use today. So you definitely are a legend. It's an honor to have you back.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. Yeah, the journal was something that was really largely Justin's idea, but being part of that first group to contribute in a meaningful way. Honestly, the journal is actually how I got the job that I have now. So to see that that's still going, and then the podcast is something that was new. Had a lot of growth during COVID because like you didn't have to fly anybody in. Like guys were used to like doing speaking engagements where we could get people on Zoom, and it was very meaningful. So I know it's grown since then, but yeah, it was kind of like the foundation for everything.
Certainly. You spoke about how the Spartan Journal was your outlet towards getting your job. That was the Raymond James, right? You're down in Florida.
Yeah. That I think I told this story before, but I'll definitely recap. It's funny, I actually got turned down for Raymond James in 2020 for a summer internship in the Southfield headquarters. But they still had my stuff on file, and we were in the new environment where people were coming, to visit colleges via Zoom, visit student groups, like really get integrated with the students as much as possible. And we just happened to have an advisor, Shane Brown from Raymond James. He was a local guy, happened to be on the call and was familiar with my resume. And he happened to see that I was presenting a story. I think it was something, the take on inflation, I think I was writing about, because we had a feeling that inflation was going to spike with the way that the market was moving that year. And of course, that ended up being like the topic of conversation for the next year. It was kind of crazy. And he kind of picked me out of the crowd and emailed me afterwards and told me to connect with some higher ups. And I talked to Lewis Walterhouse, who was a branch manager in Birmingham. He didn't have anything ready for me at the branch. I knew Birmingham very well, and I would love to work there, but I think he sent my name down to headquarters because I never applied for that job. I just got a call from recruiting to say, hey, we have our super day coming up. Can you get on the call? And I already had a couple of job offers, but I was like, I need an answer by like Friday. Mm-hmm. This was Monday. So we had the super day and a couple of interviews. I interviewed and I got the job in our accelerated development program, which is like our talent kind of development. It's like our marquee kind of talent development program for new graduates, and I was coming in under that umbrella. Got recruited in under that, and I've left the program since, but that's how I got to Raymond James, was a Spartan Journal presentation turned into a career. So saying that out loud is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly is. And I believe you had an experience with the FPA as well that also helped, did it not?
Yeah, that definitely helped. I think that put me, it was kind of a series of things because I got turned down from Ray J that first time. I got involved with a couple of things. I was still working at Altria, which is a tobacco distributor, which is my first internship I ever had.
Mhm.
I still had a virtual internship with them, and they were the ones that were paying me. But then I did a externship with Financial Planners Association that summer. So this is 2020 summer. Um, did an externship with them, and it was an 8-week program going over, I think it was like kind of CFP principles, going through the different finer points of financial planning, investment analysis, tax, estate, workshopping through that for 8 weeks. Got some CFP hours accredited. It was like 160. So kind of a drop in the bucket with the overall 4,000 that you have to get.
Yeah,
But, it was a good start. And that helped me talk the language a little bit and be prepared for next year's interviews. So that FPA experience was great because no barrier of entry, didn't really have to apply. It was the first year of the program. It was perfect timing because of COVID. So I did my sales internship, and then I did the externship at the same time. So I would close one laptop and I would open the other and work on that and grind on that. And I was doing that for a summer. And that, like I said, got me the stamp of approval that I finished the program. And I think if you go on my LinkedIn, that's like one of the first posts that really took off for me was when I finished that FPA externship. Everything from there was just like stacking things, of course, going through the wealth management program at State. So it was a lot of things going on at the same time that just kind of landed in the stars aligned for me to make my way down here.
certainly. Would you recommend doing an internship and the externship? Because I have an internship for the summer and I've been considering the Financial Planning Association externship, but I'm not sure if how was the timing on that? How did it all work?
Yeah, it was self-led. So, you can do it live throughout the day with everybody. They have the live sessions. They had professionals in the industry come and join. I wish I actually remembered some of the names. I think Tyrone Ross is actually one of them. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's big in the industry. On-ramp is something that he's created, working big in the crypto space, financial planning. But I say that to say, we had a lot of professionals on there that did the things live, but they pre-recorded them. I mean, they're not pre-recorded. They recorded the live sessions and put them up as well. So you can do it on your own time. I would say that if I only did that because I didn't have a financial oriented internship on my resume. I had sales, but I didn't have anything that really put me in the wealth space. That allowed me to kind of differentiate myself and say I had experience over here. If you already have an internship that's giving you that exposure, I wouldn't say it's necessary. If you want to go above and beyond and be a go-getter and get that experience, because it speaks directly towards the industry, I would definitely do it. But at the same time, like I said, I did it out of need. If you have something, I wouldn't say you stress over that. I'd rather you double down and really focus on what you already have in front of you than kind of be half in, half out on something else.
That's extremely sound advice. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah. And then also just to wrap up the FPA portion, I needed to plug this as well. The Student Success Summit is on February 3rd. This FPA-led event is going to host speakers like Colin Overweg, Michael Kitsis, along with many more, along with Stephanie Trexel. I believe you had plans to start your own firm in the future. Are those plans still intact?
Yeah, that's definitely something that is like when I zoom out and remember what I'm doing here. I remember that's something that's important to me. Just before I go into that, great plug for the Student Success Summit. I want to do kind of a double plug. That was an event that me, Justin, some of the people from Central, I think we had some Grand Valley people involved, Eastern. We had Eastern was heavily involved at the time. Professor Shisto helped get that off the ground. That was something that we thought it was a great opportunity to get a lot of students on board, get some professional resources involved, scholarships involved. And the first iteration was great. Shout out Renee Baker. She is a leader in my current firm. reached out to her for a diversity, equity, and inclusion panel. She was gracious enough to join and take part of that. Forever grateful for her helping get that off the ground. I say that to say it's a great resource. It's a great opportunity to get connected with other students, learn things that you might not be exposed to at your current university from the student perspective. But for any employers that will watch this, just know that this is a great, you've got all the resources and talent all in one thing. Come and bring your resources and talk about your firm and your opportunities, how you can help elevate these students. This is a growing industry. It's a great opportunity. There's advisors retiring who need new young blood to come into their firm and help support those businesses as they go into almost a transfer event from one advisor to another. So definitely take part in that program. It's a great. Is it 2 days now, or is it still just 1 day?
I believe it's 1 day. I think it's
Okay.
it's like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I believe on Friday.
Okay. That's a full day. Take advantage of it. It's 1 day. But yeah, to talk about my plans for the future, I think right now, I brand myself as a consultant. I work in asset management services at Raymond James, which basically means I just support financial advisors in their investment implementation and helping them find good solutions for clients, whether that be in fixed income, equities, alts, international, just finding ways to better invest and streamline the practices for our financial advisors. Learning that right now is kind of making myself an expert in the investment space to one day do exactly that and join an advisor who might be sunsetting his practice or transferring to another advisor, come in as a junior FA and hopefully assist in the business. That's one route, but another route, of course, is going out on my own and doing my own thing. I think one thing that really motivates me is the opportunity to create a legacy. Legacy is very big for me. For anybody who knows me, I'm the third, so I come from two other Oscar Garners. It's a long legacy of sacrifices and doing what needs to be done to advance the family name. As somebody who comes from that type of work ethic, I'd like to be able to apply that and finally stamp something in the ground to say, hey, this belongs to us. This is our thing. If I want to hire my brother in, if I want to hire Andrew Hendren in, he'd bring his law stuff, or any of my buddies who are doing their thing. I got my friend Ty who's doing insurance. Whoever I want to bring into the fold, I want to have that type of autonomy, and I want that to be something that my family looks to as something that we built up. And that's really where that RIA piece comes from, of me starting my own shop. It's kind of a marriage of wanting to do something for my family name, but also I have a passion for finance. So why not combine the two and ultimately create something with our name on it?
That sounds like a dream. I think Garner with you and your brother would be absolutely unstoppable. I met him. He's a great individual. He seems very driven and he knows what he wants to do already, which is excellent.
Yeah, it's great to have somebody kind of 5 years behind you who saw, they still see your footprints in the snow and know, if I want to follow this path, I have I have a North Star that I can follow, or I can blaze my own path. And David has a great understanding of that. I think if I zoom out, it's just beautiful to be able to go through these things and kind of bump get your bruises and cut your teeth a little bit in the industry, or not even just in the industry, just progressing through your career. That can be something that's difficult when you don't have a lot of leadership in your own family that has done similar things, and you're blazing this trail for the first time. It's good to be able to look back at people like yourself, like my brother, like Andrew, some of these people that I might have mentored in the past, or Justin might have mentored in the past, to be able to help you guys progress a lot quicker. That's why I love Professor Schiestel. That's what he does. He loves to give back and make sure that the younger generation is well equipped. And my brother's part of that. But of course, we do this holistically to be able to leave a record that people can follow, a map that people can follow. And some people say, don't you get jealous at other people's success when you work so hard? Absolutely not. I think it'd be selfish for me not to share what I've learned, and B, it brings me a lot of joy to see people who are younger than me get to where I've gotten quicker than me or easier than me. And I don't envy the easy path. I think it's great that you didn't have to make the mistakes I made. I think it's great that you don't have to do 2 internships to get here. I did that because I had to. But if we don't have to, I'm a big fan of work ethic and having to have that drive. But at the end of the day, if we can make an easier path for people, why not?
Certainly, I know that Garrett Fulby played a large part in your mentorship, or you were the mentee in that point. Going off the mentorship point, what problems in college and the professional world did you experience that you could have prevented?
Yeah, wow, that's a good one. Always have to shout out Garrett. Garrett was definitely a big influence. We were in band together. I played saxophone with him, marching band. He was a year older than me, but he went to Michigan. I don't, can't rag on him too much. That's my guy. So we were friends before that. So I'll let it slide.
Mhm.
But yeah, he was a big mentor for me. Well, one more time. What was that question? It was the mentorship. One more time.
Yes. What problems in college and the professional world did you experience that could have been prevented?
I don't know what problems. I think I think understanding. I think I underestimated a lot of things. I think it was a combination of me being a little overconfident, but also not truly taking the time to understand some of the things I was trying to accomplish. Um, and how that showed up was I got denied from the business college once. I got denied from a lot of internships. I didn't really understand at the time what was required, and I didn't really look to any of the people that had gotten the internships that I was looking for, or gotten the opportunities I was looking for. I didn't see what they were doing. I didn't take it upon myself to go and ask them, "Hey, all right, let me humble myself. I didn't get the opportunity, but you did. What made that happen?" Um, it wasn't until I got older that I realized that I need to check that and be willing to reach forward and connect with people and learn from their mistakes in the same way that I share backwards. It was almost weird that I was willing to mentor but not be mentored in certain situations, or I didn't seek that out. So I think a lack of I think it was a lack of me not fully understanding the challenges ahead that led me to almost double work. You get denied from the business college one time, you have to go back and redo the semester, or not redo the semester, so I didn't fail any classes, but you get what I mean. You have to take another attempt at it. And that type of stuff might have been avoided if I took the time ahead of time to reach out and talk to people that had done what I was trying to do, and then align my efforts with that. And I think that goes through, that went through my work experience as well. I had to take time. I want to shout out Ryan Tedesco. He was somebody who works at my firm who kind of gave me the game of what was required to get where I was trying to be. And not only did he tell me that, but he's been somebody who's been an example that I can look to and say, this is exactly what he did. This is what he was willing to do. This is the effort that he put in. I have to match that or go harder.
Yeah.
And so I've learned and grown from it. But it was definitely something that held me back when I was younger.
Okay. Yeah, you were just talking about how you got the blueprint and how you have the steps and you know what to do. I'm actually looking for the blueprint. I'm looking at taking my SIE this summer. Was there anything that you did that helped you prepare for those examinations?
Yeah, it's funny. As I was starting to take these exams, is when I started to get into my era of, instead of underestimating, I was overestimating challenges. And that's something that I've kind of taken on as my new mentality for a lot of things that I do, trying to overdo it. So when I finally get to that test, that day where my number is going to be called, I'm beyond prepared. I would say take that same mentality with the SIE. It's a simple exam. It's more wide than it is deep. It's going to be a lot of surface level topics, stuff that you probably have already learned and covered, securities wise, but it's going to be pretty general. What I would say is, don't underestimate the time that you need to prepare. you'd rather have more time and study slowly than try to really just go after each topic in a short period of time. So give yourself the time, take it seriously, even build your own challenges. I knew I was going to take several exams, SIE 7, 66 CFP, and I knew that I wanted to go 4-0. I knew I didn't want to restart, right? Have your own challenges internally that keep you motivated to like, I have to hit this. And make sure you buy, don't spare any expense on the study pack. The study packs are golden. Few banks are golden. They give you question banks, hammer the Q banks, and just really practice and dig in. But I mean, if you have any type of study or work ethic, just apply that there, and I think you'll be good. It's the first of many, so definitely take it seriously so you can see, okay, if this is like the base, just know everything is stacking here. So SIE knowledge helped me on my CFP.
Really?
So it builds, and that's why you have to take it seriously from the beginning so you can carry that forward.
Certainly. Congratulations, by the way. The new CFP passed, almost professional. I believe you have to fill in the amount of hours. Where are you at right now for hours?
I haven't logged my hours recently, but I'd say I'm probably at 1,500 maybe. So almost halfway there. I've been getting a lot of them off of my asset management work. It very much falls into, you're supposed to contribute to one of the 7 steps in the financial planning process. I contribute to a couple, so I'm able to log these hours that I do full time. And even tonight, I have an event that I have to go to for work at 6:30. So even those hours where I'm kind of connecting with my clients and talking to financial advisors counts as that time. So like you said, pass the exam, but passing the exam is the hard part. Now all I have to do is just keep working, and I'll probably have it. It's 2023, so maybe mid-2024 I'll probably have it.
I'm certainly looking forward to seeing that CFP next year name. That's going to be amazing. For our listeners who aren't familiar with the CFP and the FINRA exams that you have passed, could you walk us through each one and its significance?
Yeah, we already talked about the SIE, so I won't go too deep into that. But that was the base, that was the foundation of everything. It exposed me to things I didn't see in the classroom, and then hammered into some of the stuff that I already studied on my own. The market was crazy as I was taking the SIE. We were going through, it was a crazy bull market, growth, tech, everything was overinflated. And it really helped contextualize what I was seeing developing in the market. I did the Series 7. When I first started at Raymond James, I had a manager who pushed me. I told her I wanted to be a financial advisor, so she made me take my Series 7, take my 66. For those who don't know, the Series 7 is it's just another securities exam that gives you the license to, I believe it's sell securities. Mm-hmm. So to participate in exchanges and collect commission. Series 66 allows you to advise. So I always say Series 7 is, how do I put this? Series 7 is somebody who just deals in transactions. They don't provide any real knowledge or expertise or any sort of consulting feature to it. The Series 66 allows you to understand who an advisor is, how to register, what a rep is, and then the idea of suitability and advice and how to apply the securities knowledge that you learned in the SIE and 7 to actually sell advice. So those were those 3. 66 was more legal stuff. 7 was more market related. The CFP, though, was just a totally different animal entirely. Studied for about 4 months with that one. And I think I started early June, and my exam was in November. So June, July, August, September. So I started in July. And I basically studied wall to wall. For that whole time, at that same time, I had just started my asset management job. So I was kind of building up there. But as I was doing asset management, I was doing the exam. And it was crazy how much stuff overlapped and how I was seeing the work I was doing actually fit into what I was studying. And I think that was a beautiful thing for me, how I could contextualize my work. But if I zoom out, the CFP for me is just a differentiator. I don't have anybody in my family that has any type of designation or credentials like that. I know my dad wanted to be a doctor at one point. A lot of ambitions in the family, but it was just another opportunity to advance the legacy, grow my name, and establish myself as an expert in the field. Also, I'm young, it's early. I figured I'd get it out the way. My firm was paying for it. So I might as well use my resources.
Why not?
So, yeah, exactly. So it was big focus on retirement, tax, and estate planning type issues, but overall, it was a huge learning experience. I'm glad that it's over. I don't envy anybody who has it coming up, especially with crypto becoming more and more involved. Inflation is a bigger discussion. Kind of the exam is changing a little bit right now, and I'm glad. All right, I'm glad I passed it this year because next year they're gonna be rolling out some new topics I didn't want to deal with. So it was good to get it out of there.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to the new topics, especially maybe like the legality of the crypto and all that whole space. That's just a whole different animal that I haven't understood, but we're getting there for that. You mentioned estate. You work with estate. How do you feel about the next 20 years and with the baby boomer transition to the millennials, the wealth generational transfer?
Yeah, man, it's huge. I mean, it's the topic of conversation. Anybody who's in the industry understands that this is something that's happening. There's nothing that we can do to stop it. We just have to prepare ourselves. So it's interesting. There's kind of two events happening at the same time. There's the wealth holders and the wealth advisors are both having a transition, right? The baby boomers were advising the baby boomers. They're both entering into retirement period, right? So we have thousands of baby boomers retiring every single day. We have bonds and mutual funds and all these different accounts that are being liquidated, people hitting RMD age. This money is flowing out of accounts in rivers that was stockpiled, right? So there's taxable events occurring. There's wealth transfer I can only imagine the amount of trust accounts that are being opened every single day right now to facilitate the transfer of wealth from one family to the next. From the family perspective, it's very key that these financial advisors right now are not just advising the matriarch or the patriarch of the family. Have a focus on the holistic family. Advisors who don't know their kids or who don't know their clients' children, who aren't very familiar with the next generation, this is a great opportunity to connect with them, understanding what the next generation needs, what that family needs to in terms of funds, in terms of tax protection, insurance. These are great opportunities for advisors to tap in with the family, because if they don't, they risk this next generation of clients to walk. They don't know, as let's say it's me. I'm not familiar with this guy. He may have come to a couple soccer games when I was a kid. He might have been at my high school graduation, but I don't know this guy like that. He's kind of like my pediatrician or something. There's not a lot of familiarity there, so they risk the opportunity that this wealth will not stay with the practice, whether that be through the generations or whether a state event occurs. They risk that. On the other side, you have the advisors themselves. And a lot of advisors have built up practices from a transactional history where they used to just be brokers, and now the broker type relationship is shrinking, and we're more towards fee based, right? Or we have the events where advisors have been building up this practice on their own, and they have no real system for how their client mix is, right? They let any level of assets come in. They might have a disorganized practice. Some of these advisors just aren't prepared for a succession event themselves. Their practice isn't structured in a way that they can move it to somebody else, right? So these advisors not only have to prepare for their clients' wealth transfer, but some have to prepare for their business transfer, and they have to structure their practice in a way that they can bring somebody else in, or they risk those assets moving elsewhere. Right now, those advisors who are well prepared, they have a junior FA, or they have a team, they have a partner or somebody that is that continuity plan. They've structured their business in a way where it's systematic, and somebody who is on the outside can get plugged in and kind of oversee that transfer of the practice. So there's a lot going on wealth wise right now, where if these advisors aren't prepared, there's opportunities for assets to go elsewhere. But on the positive side, there's a tremendous upside for advisors to connect with families and be involved in making sure that, the money that was under this leadership for this generation can have that same leadership going forward.
Certainly. I think we're headed into a golden age, especially for the younger advisor, where you're starting out a book of business and there's so many free-floating families or individuals that may not be locked down in that certain practice, whether it's a broker-dealer or an RIA. I think that there's tremendous avenues for growth in the next coming years.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't sit here and act like I'm not excited myself for an opportunity to work with somebody who's going through that. I think it's going to be a huge opportunity. And to all of my aspiring junior FAs out there, network, connect with advisors in your community, look for opportunities to be a part of that. The barrier of entry in this business is really high. So this is a great opportunity to not only progress your career, but also at the same time, learn from these guys who have been doing it for 20, 30, 40 years, who have seen everything from the tech bubble, 2008, of course, what we just went through, the market events of the 80s and 90s, right? These guys have seen it all. So, not only are you getting an opportunity to be exposed to this practice in a great way and get in a way that's good for your career, but you also get to learn from these masters of the game who have figured out how to stay alive through any market cycle.
Certainly. Do you think a RIA or a broker-dealer would be more suited for the future in the next 10 to 20 years?
Just the way the SEC and FINRA are moving right now, and the growth of credentials like the CFP, the RIA model is becoming hard to ignore. Honestly, not even hard to. It was hard to ignore maybe 10 years ago. Right now, it's growing, and it's growing at a very fast rate. Raymond James RIA platform is growing. You don't have to look too far into the news to see that. We're bringing RIAs in from different firms. So if you look at where the money's flowing, that independent advisor who's far away from product pushing and working with banks and stuff like that, that's definitely the future that we're seeing, with the way the money's flowing. Not to say any way is right or wrong. That's just, the way the industry is moving. What I will say about the broker-dealer perspective, there's still a lot of resources there. We can't sit here and say that the RIA model is the best way to go because you're, the farthest away from affiliation and you can kind of do your own thing. The broker-dealer model provides so many resources to a young FA, or any FA for that matter: marketing, due diligence, helping with recruiting, working with COIs, back office work of any kind, compliance, which is huge. Compliance is huge. These are all resources that you get from a BD. So you can't shake your head at that. Some people don't want to be so close to the firm that they work with. But if you run your practice in a respectable way, or, not even in a respectable way, in the best interest of your client at all times, then there really should be no worries. The BD platform isn't going anywhere, but the RIA model is definitely growing for the future.
I can certainly see that, especially with firms like Advise Wealth Management and Colin Overweg, where he has media to his advantage. He's posting this or he's posting that, educating the populace about financial planning and the benefits of which it'll provide them. I know that you spoke last podcast about your own media outlets and blogs, I believe it was.
Yeah. Before I joined Ray J, I was blogging at the time. I was putting out material. I was just continuing my writing from from the Spartan Journal. I was just continuing that material. I still felt very much like I had something to say and wanted to keep putting that stuff out. Now, when I joined Raymond James, I had stopped writing just because of compliance issues. And, if somebody takes advice from my writing, it causes some legal issues that the firm doesn't want to be involved in. And frankly, I don't want to be involved in either. So I still share my thoughts via Instagram. I might post, something that, the market moved and, my thoughts on that. But other than that, I really haven't been putting out any material that would, that's even close to what I was doing before. So it's unfortunate, but I think that's another piece of why I want to be on the RIA space. I see a lot of people in the RIA space doing podcasts of their own, writing their own material, putting out videos. I think that's something that I'm really passionate about. I love media. I love to do video edits. I love to write. So if I get a chance to be out in that space again, or in that space period, I will definitely, pick that back up as something that I'm passionate about.
I can't wait to listen to your podcast and read your blog in the next coming years. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, man. I'm definitely going to make sure I get my plugs with the Spartan Journal. Hopefully I can get a hot link in there or something like that.
Oh yeah. We can definitely make that happen. Over the past couple of years, you've been absolutely killing it, and it has been easy, especially with the COVID lockdowns. And I believe you had a hurricane experience. I think that was one of the first LinkedIn posts I saw from you.
Yeah, that actually happened right in the middle of CFP study, which was crazy. It's actually really fun. So this is a funny story, and my roommate might see this because he did work at the same firm as me for a long time. But I think I've been living in Florida for a year, and I was talking to my roommate. I'm like, dude, like everybody talks about hurricanes down here. Like, Mother Nature has been real tame. I haven't seen any hurricanes. I haven't seen any storms. Like maybe like a bad rainstorm here or there, but no hurricane. Like, and sure enough, a week later, we had a hurricane developing that was going to be coming our way right through the Gulf of Mexico, hit Tampa Bay. I forget what the name of the hurricane was, but I was talking to my external partner in the field, one of my sales teammates at the firm, who is a Florida native. I was like, dude, what should I do? This thing keeps getting elevated and the risk level keeps getting higher. The flood zone keeps growing. Like, what should I do? What should I do? Like, should I dip? Should I get out of here? He was like, dude, just get out of here. So I packed up all my textbooks, everything. Shout out my friend Worthington Anderson. He's a credit analyst at Bank of America. He lives in Atlanta. So I was like, I'm just going to drive until I get to his place. I think it was like a 6-hour drive. I packed up my car and all my stuff. I was like, bro, I'm going to come sleep on your couch for a couple of days. I'm from Detroit, man. I'm not trying to deal with the hurricane. So I came upstate, stayed a couple of days with him. He showed me around the city, which was cool. Atlanta's definitely somewhere that I can live. But yeah, man, I was at his apartment studying while he was working. I took a couple of days off of work during that time and kind of wrote it out at his place. And I remember actually the CFP sent me an email. CFP board sent me an email a week after the hurricane, and they said, for those affected by the hurricane in that area, we're going to give you the opportunity to push your exam towards March. Excuse me. Now, mind you, this is like September, maybe this happened. So I'm like, I got 6 weeks left, maybe until exam day. And I just wasn't there yet, if you know what I mean. Like I was studying. I knew that I was progressing to being there and ready for exam day. But at the moment, it was just like, this isn't clicking the way the SIE clicked at this time or the 7 clicked at this time. I wasn't feeling it. And I called everyone I knew. I was like, Worthington, bro, what should I do? Tyler, what should I do? I talked to my mom. And they all said the same thing. They said, finish it out. Don't take the bait. Finish it out. Grind. If you feel like you're not there, if you feel like you're not there and the hurricane never came, you still will have to deal with it. So just deal with it like it never came. And I turned up and really grinded it out and got there. But yeah, that was definitely one of those events that was crazy. I would say. No, that's probably the crowning one. I can't even think of anything else. I've hit a couple snags along the way, but nothing like that.
Yeah, that's definitely a one-on-one story. I know that you came to MSU on an Evans scholarship. Could you talk about that program a little bit?
Yeah, I went to school for finance, but it's funny, like I never actually paid any tuition to Michigan State. I was on a full ride scholarship from the Evans Scholarship Foundation. Um, this was something that I earned from being a caddy. And if you actually look back here, you can see some of my Tiger Woods posters. Golf is big in my life. My dad was a golf player growing up. He taught me how to play golf. And I caddied a lot throughout high school. And there's the Evans Scholarship Program funds caddies getting sent to college off the basis of financial need, academic success in high school, and then overall just merit in the community. And that was something I actually applied for and got denied my first time. And I had to go to Central Michigan for a year, and I had to study there, get my grades up, and reapply. And when I reapplied out of my freshman year, I got awarded the scholarship, and I transferred to Michigan State, which is where I always wanted to be. I transferred there, so it was a dream come true, not only to go to my favorite university, but also to go there for free and live in the Evans Scholarship House. That experience really changed me. I think being on the golf course with some of my mentors, Scott Wilson being one of those, he really took a shine to me when I was young and mentored me up and taught me kind of the finer points of being a caddy, the finer points of being at a country club like Oakland Hills in Michigan. It was something that made me want more. He was, he had access to a world that I hadn't been exposed to. And without his resources, I wouldn't have been able to get a degree. So that experience was huge for me. And that's another reason why I feel the need to always make sure I'm reaching out to the younger generation, because if it weren't for people like Scott Wilson, if it weren't people like Garrett Folby, if it weren't people like Steve Schiestel, if it wasn't for people like Justin Halverson, these people who were kind of a little bit older, had a little bit more experience than me, giving me leadership, I wouldn't be able to get here. So, the Evans Scholarship is just another piece of that puzzle of how I've been able to progress and get where I am now. So, owe a lot to that group. I'm still giving back to them. I'm actually doing a career night with them with Penn State. I won't be flying to Pennsylvania, but I will be attending via Zoom. So that's huge. Just right now, instead of being a student as an alum, trying to give back however I can. This is just another opportunity. But yeah, for anybody watching, go check it out. WGA Evans Scholarship Foundation. You can donate for $21 a month. I had to plug it. Just know this. Yeah, just had to plug it. It's the $21 a month goes to people like me who have a dream and want to go to school and progress and create something for their lives. So go donate and help a caddy go to college.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, in your case, you have certainly succeeded in what you need to do. So I can attest to the results.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. For those listening, how could they become an Evans Scholar? What does that process look like, and when should they start?
Yeah, so the Evans Scholarship is something that's recruited out of high school. So for anybody who's probably watching this, this wouldn't apply to them. But if you have any high school students or even middle school students who might be in a tricky financial situation with their families, but have a lot of potential, have good grades, you can apply to be an Evans Scholar. The criteria: you have to be a caddy at a country club that sponsors the scholarship. You can actually check out the website. You can probably find it on my LinkedIn. Check out the website and see if any country clubs in your area are participating. It's mostly a Midwest thing. So I know some of the courses in Michigan include Detroit Golf Club, Detroit Country Club, Oakland Hills, Birmingham, Bloomfield, Red Run. Got to shout out Red Run. That's actually where Andrew caddied.
Really?
So if you look on the website, you'll see what country clubs in your area. Actually, I think Country Club of Lansing. I think is it Lansing Country Club? I think it's LCC. But they have one, and if they sponsor the scholarship, they'll also have a university partner. So, for example, we have a chapter at Notre Dame. We have a chapter at Illinois. We have Michigan, of course, Ohio State, Miami of Ohio, Minnesota. So it's all over the place. We even have Colorado, we have Oregon. We have chapters on the way. We're trying to grow our footprint and beats. I think it's like 1,500 scholars in school by 2030. So right now, I think we're living at 1,300 nationwide. So we're trying to get to 15. So, but yeah, to answer your question, I'm like all over the place. To answer your question, find a local country club, identify a university, go work, requires at least 2 years to caddy, but there is context added if it's a certain situation. Requires 2 years, got to do a certain amount of rounds in that year. But yeah, go and just get involved at the country club, work hard and express your interest if it's available. Share that information. If somebody even sees this and wants to reach out, I can connect you with somebody who's responsible for that chapter in your area, and you get them connected and you can learn more, because it's a great opportunity. I wish more people who I went to school with participated. So it's something very special that you wouldn't be exposed to under normal circumstances. So if you want to get involved, you can either reach out to me or go to wgaesf.com or org, one of the other.
Yeah, we could include it in the description. Do you have any other locations in Grand Rapids for my West Side folk?
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with that side of the state, but let me tell you, we have a lot of Grand Rapids kids in the Michigan State House. So, I mean, we have kids from Chicago. So I don't know any locations off the top of my head, but we have a few courses. I know my big at the time, she was my mentor in the house. Her name was Kaylee. She caddied on that side of the state. She's from that area. So we have stuff in Kalamazoo. It's all over the place. So like I said, it's on the website. I can pull them up later and we can get them linked.
Certainly, that'd be amazing. Heard it here first. Oscar Garner is wanting to help you, and if you don't take this opportunity, it's not for the betterment of you.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Reach out. I mean, this goes to the students. It makes no sense to have access to certain resources and not use them. So, even if it's not Evan Scholar, I might not be familiar with the classes now, but the principles of progressing your career are always the same. So I'm always open to have conversations with people who are looking to make that next step.
Certainly. Oscar, I love speaking with you today. Is there any parting advice that we didn't cover on this episode that you would like our WMA members or any listeners should hear about?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that I always tell people is do what you want to do before you're paid to do it. If you want an opportunity, if you want a chance to progress, if you want someone to take a chance on you, you can't just show up and ask for a chance. You have to be doing the work that no one asks you to do. The work that no one asks you to do is the work that progresses you to the next level, right? You have to be willing to take that extra step. No one is asking Jared to take the SIE. This is something that he thought of. It's going to take him to the next level because he went out of his way to do that. Not only just for the sake of having the SIE, because you have the knowledge, but the fact that you went outside of the curriculum of the classroom, outside of what was required on to get into an interview room. You went outside of that and said, I'm going to do this to progress myself. Those two things speak to people who provide opportunities. Go above and beyond before someone asks you to. And that is going to be the difference maker to progress you to, wherever you're trying to be. And it's so key because I see so many people who are like, no one's going to give me a shot. You have to take your own shots. You have to earn them. You have to call your own numbers sometimes. And somebody's going to see you doing that. So, take advantage of those opportunities to do that when you can, because the older you get, the less those opportunities come. You have all the free time in the world right now. Use those times to do things that differentiate you from the next man. And I hate to make it about the next man, but that's who you're competing with. So, that's that. Like I said, just to put it in very simple terms, do the things that no one asked you to do.
That's powerful advice, and that's how you're going to set yourself apart. And you've done that. You're obviously successful in your endeavors, and you will continue on being so. Oscar, thank you for your time. I had a wonderful time finally meeting you.
Hey, man, it was great. I appreciate you connecting and setting up the time. If you guys ever need anything WMA-wise, you're putting together a panel, anything like that, do not hesitate to reach out. I don't know if we're going to clip this part, but if Raymond James needs to come up there and recruit, you guys let me know. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, man, like I said, it's great to be back 2 years. Glad you guys are carrying it still. So, go green and have a good semester, man.
Go White. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
If you like what you just heard, please like, comment, and share. This is Lance Mullen, producer of the MSU WMA podcast. MSU WMA, or Michigan State University Wealth Management Association, is a student organization part of the Eli Broad College of Business, located in East Lansing, Michigan. Our mission is to inspire and educate the next generation of financial planners. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed, please check out our channel on all platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and check out our social media at MSU WMA and msuwma.com.